We will turn the recording on. Great. Hello, everybody. And we are once again working on our chat. I don't know why our chat is coming in disabled, but Deborah is working on that. My name is Allison Johnson. I am your host for Core Values Reimagined. Welcome to December. Welcome to another webinar where we get to dig in and learn some things about ourselves so that we can be better when we're interacting with other people. I am the president and the owner of the Lee Johnson Group, a company where we focus on helping people who are hungry, who want to grow, and who want to have impact in their life with themselves as well as other folks. We do that by way of these webinar series that we always do once a month, and they are free to you, our community. We also do mastermind groups as well as group coaching, and one-to-one coaching is really key. And as you already know, I want to be your coach, okay? So if some of you have taken advantage of coaching already, and you are coaching with me now, and there's still spots and still would like to work with many more of you. So if you want to coach, as we get into 2023, I want to be your coach. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. So that's the Lee Johnson Group. Please make sure that you subscribe to any one of our platforms, like us, and talk back to us on the social media platforms so that we get the traction that we need to be able to affect even more people. I thank you for what you've already done so far this year. And so thank you being part of the community, and welcome. Now, this topic, this month, I decided that this would be a great place to start because we're getting ready to transition into the new year, to 2023. I don't know about you, but this past year went really fast. And so as I think about it, I'm asking myself, what do I want to do? What are my goals? What is going to be my vision for next year? And in that, it's always good not to build vision, goals, and purpose before I have a good, solid foundation. And we're going to go back and take a look at our values today so that when we start planning for the new year, we have an idea of our values and how they will play into everything that we decide to do. So with that said, what interested you in the topic today? What interested you in the topic today? If you will, put that in the chat. If you can't get into the chat, then do it in Q&A. It looks like our chat is up and running. Is it going, Deb?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Allison. It's up and running.
Okay. And Deb, while they're putting stuff in the chat on what interested you in today's topic, go ahead on and introduce yourself.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deborah Williams. You can call me Deb if you so desire. I am so glad to be here today, and I will be monitoring the chat. So just consider me as the voice for the chat. Thanks,
Listen,
Allison. I'll
listen
meet
at
you
that
in the chat
voice.
room.
She has a great voice, doesn't she? Thank you, Deb. I'm so glad that you are riding along with me as my co-host and producer for our webinar. All right. So what are we seeing in the chat? Why are people interested in this topic?
Yes, some are saying that they want to have core values imagined, interested in improving the way in how they're doing things, wanting to have a foundation,
Yeah.
and finding out more about themselves and what their core values and how to enhance their ability to work with fathers.
Oh,
That's
to work with
fathers.
Fathers, okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's good stuff. What I like about our community, of folks that come to these webinars, they come prepared and they come ready to dig in to the topic and have an idea of what they want. So here we go. Let's look at an outline. Great work there, and thank you for participating in the chat. We're going to look at some definitions. And then once we look at those definitions, we want to begin to examine what is the value of values? What is the value of values? We'll go through a 6-step process to identify your values. And what's going to be good, this is going to be the workshop piece of our webinar. So it won't be just me talking and chatting, but we're actually going to get you working. So if you have your resource guide handy, they were sent by email early this morning, and then we sent them again just about 30 minutes ago so that they're at the top of your email box. If you haven't had a chance to download that and print it out or whatever, just get a piece of paper and a pen. So you will need a piece of paper and pen because we will be in workshop style, y'all. So go ahead on and get that right now, get something real close to you. And the next thing that we will do is 3 tips for living your values. And so we'll kind of culminate our work with some tips. So that's where we're headed. And let's begin with, what are your values? And the word values, oftentimes, what I find when I'm teaching values and goals and mission and purpose, people just, they kind of cloud over and they're not sure of their values. Here's what I know about values. We may not have a list of values, but we always know when our values are violated. What do I mean by that? When something happens to us and we know that it's not right or something went wrong, that's our values starting to play with us. We believe something should be one way, and we value it to be that way, and then an incident happens, and therefore that incident then triggers us, and we might be thinking a particular way or feeling a particular way, which will then cause us to behave in a particular way. So let me give you an example that I think will run all the way through the workshop. And every time I teach these webinars, I get tested. All right. It's like, okay, you're going to put your money where your mouth is. All right. And I get this real poignant, if you will, example. So here's what happened to me. On Monday of this week, actually, no, it wasn't Monday. It was on Friday last week. I go into the Safeway and I buy myself some flowers. Okay. And I bought some bananas because I was going to make a banana pudding. And when you buy the real ripe bananas, they mark them down. So I'm in the self-checkout place, and the bananas, I needed the clerk to come over and to assist to put the right price in for those bananas. So she did that. And then I was scanning my flowers, it just had bananas and flowers, and I was scanning my flowers and they wouldn't scan. So now there's a long line behind me, and everybody's, everything's really kind of working, and people want to get out of the store. And so I call the clerk again, and she comes over and she says to me, I said, the flowers are $10.99 and they are not ringing up. And she said to me, okay. She said, I'm just going to charge you $5. Okay, I know the flowers cost $10.99. And she said, oh, don't worry about it, $5. And she puts $5 in there. So now I am at a spot there because my value says that's stealing. Okay, that's stealing, and that's not right. All right, I've got the whole warning, right, wrong, stealing going off in my head. But again, notice the environment and what's happening. And I don't want to put her on blast. I don't want to accuse her of doing something wrong. And so I just go ahead on, accept the $5. And as I'm walking out, I'm in conflict, honestly. And so I said, okay, what do I do? How do I do this? These people want to get out of here. They don't care about my $5.99. So I get in the car and I talk to my husband and I decide that I will go back to the store tomorrow morning and I will pay the additional $5.99. So the next day I go to the store. I mean, it bothered me that much. And it was important because my number one value is my faith and how my life integrates with my faith. And telling the truth, honesty and integrity is really high for me. All right, so I get back to the store the next morning, and the two ladies behind the counter, they think I have lost my mind. They can't believe my integrity, and they tell me, "Don't worry, you're going to get those flowers for $5. You don't owe us $5.99." And this goes on. So the bottom line is they did not charge me the $5.99. However, I felt better, and the key was not to indict the clerk, because I'm not going to put my values on her. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. The key is I need to make it right for me so that there's some wholeness there for me. And I am living out my true values. So that's a long story, but it's going to play into the rest of our workshop. The bottom line is I got the flowers for $5. They did not charge me the other $5.99. They gave me lots of applause, but and the clerk was protected because I wasn't trying to put her on blast in any way. All right. So with that said, let's now go into some definitions. When we look at values, what are we talking about? They are described as basic fundamental beliefs that guide and motivate our attitudes and actions. So you can tell when that particular situation, I was troubled, right? My thoughts and my feelings then caused me to take particular actions. The first one is values are personal qualities we choose to embody. I want to be known as a truthful person. They also are who we want to be. All right. I could have let that go. In fact, folks said, it's a little bit, what's the big deal? The clerk told you can have them, go ahead. But it was funny because when I went back to the store, I told the people, they said, well, it's okay. I said, no, I need y'all to be in business. I need my local Safeway. And what I do know is if the store is not making the amount of money that it's supposed to be making in that area, they'll take the store out. And then where we're going to shop, I had to go a little bit further just to pick up some basics. So I'm protecting what I believe is right. All right. Values affect the treatment of ourselves, how we treat ourselves, others, and the world around us. So remember, they guide us, they motivate us, and they affect our attitudes and actions. So one of the things, whenever I teach this, the question is, well, what's the difference between morals and values? So as we look at morals, we're talking about a system of belief, and that system is taught to us. Values are more personal. And when we look at morals, we want to think more about societal and how we've been taught. So morals are normative and taught. Morals are what should or should not happen. Should or should not happen. They're societal, and because we don't talk about we have opposed values as much as we'll say that person is immoral, right? And when you think about that, if you think about the last person you thought, or the last thing you saw that you thought, oh, that was disgusting, that was immoral. something that you've been taught it tells you that this is not conforming to the rules of right conduct. So let's use an example of people on the plane, right? And sometimes people get on the plane and they're picking their toes or or doing other things that just folks look at them and say, ugh, how could you do that? Our moral system tells us there's some things you don't do in polite company. Also, mores and morals, they shift. Because when you think about where we were 100 years ago, and, did women wear pants? That's another one of those shifting things, right? And now it's not even an issue. So morals change and we're taught them. All right, I also wanted to put in ethics because, again, that begs a question. So then what are ethics? And ethics are a system of moral principle of our moral principles. And they are guided by our worldview. So when we talk about our worldview, we could be talking about our philosophy, our religion. If you're agnostic, atheist, religious in some way, you're a naturalist. These are worldviews and they have specific codes, if you will. And so they're the human code of how we operate. So if you think about it, the ethic is what we ought to do. There's based on the worldview. We ought to not kill people. We ought to not rape someone. We ought to not abuse children. These are like absolutes, in a specific world, in a religious worldview, a lot of times, and especially in a Christian worldview. So that's an ethic, if you will. So very quickly, just a quick summary. Values, we're going to be dealing with them personally. Societal shifts or morals, and then ethics are those things that are fixed and rigid. So we were to sum this all up. Our values are the magnets in your moral compass. So I did have my little, let me go back. They're the right and wrong. I want to get my magnet up here, my compass. And so this is a magnet I have. It says, do one thing every day that scares you. All right, but I'm really focusing on the fact that it's a magnet. And then I have another one of these that says life begins at the end of your comfort zone, but they're magnets and they are drawn to each other. And I think they're drawn to each other. There they go. And they're connected, see, and they connect. And so the north portion of the magnet is, and this would be the south, it's going to connect to that one. All right. And that's the same thing when our values are violated or something happens. Use my Safeway example, that situation. My value was going north, saying this is not right. And my South Pole wants to come and says, okay, how are you going to write this? How are you going to make it correct? Because you can't let that go. And we'll talk about what happens when we do let our values go. All right. So why do we need core values? Why are they important now that we understand the difference between values, morals, and ethics? What is the value? So we want to ask that question. What is the value of values? What is the value of values? So how do values help you? Let's take a test. We're going to be in the chat here for a second. In the chat, how do values help you? Go ahead on and put that in the chat. How do values help you? And I know Deb's looking at that.
I am looking at the chat. No one's responding yet.
Okay.
Values help serve as guardrails for decision making.
Yes.
They keep a person in alignment with morals and ethics.
Mhm.
They keep us safe and secure and respectful. They definitely guide us. Uh,
Guardrails,
yes,
guiding,
yes,
alignment, I heard. Those are,
yes.
yes.
Living in line with with their beliefs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What you believe to be so. Because when we're not living according to our values, um, life is not going well. That's what I'll say. Life is not going well. So here's some other things to consider. Thank you for participating in the chat. Values can help us to consider several things. What job should I pursue? There's certain jobs I won't do, okay, because they're going to go against my values. Should I accept this promotion? If I say that family is really important to me, but yet I'm going to have a job that's going to keep me out on the road 300 days a year, there may be a problem with that, and I might not want to take that job. Should I start my own business? All right. Or should I just go with what I know? All right. Because there's some risk in starting a business and really putting myself through things that, as my little one Magnus said, do something that scares you. All right. Should I compromise or be firm with my position? So that little 599, something in me said, no, I need to be firm and do something so that I'm okay. All right. And at the same time, again, it's not about the clerk. I'm not trying to indict that person, get their job or anything like that. It's about me and making it right. Should I follow tradition or travel down a new path? Should I take the road less traveled? As Peck says in his book, The Road Less Traveled? Or do I just kind of hum along in life and just do what I know to do and keep going? So our values will affect that. So, what's holding me back sometimes with my decisions and how I live my life is that I haven't identified my values. And so there's a value in identifying those values. When I know my values, it's going to help me live more fulfilled. It's going to help me to make choices that are satisfying. I'm on my agenda and not somebody else's agenda. And so remember, when we're talking about morals and we're talking about values, a lot of times we will pick up other people's values and try to live out their values, but they're not ours. And so an example of that is you might love to travel and you're ready to get on the plane or whatever, but you're married to somebody or you have friends that all they want to do is stay home and watch Hallmark. Houston, we have a problem, right? And so you begin to conform to them, but you are not fulfilled and you're not satisfied. So your values allow you to live on your agenda. You major in what is important for you. That is key. So if you look like this gentleman here that's saying, oh my goodness, as you look into 2023 and things that you want to get done, let's take a look at what's really important for you and what's that core identity and principles that you want to live by. So when we define our values, just know that, again, and I kind of hit that a little bit on that last slide, everybody's different. And another person's values are not your values. And so what excites you may make the other person anxious. Now, this is marriage counseling here, and it's for free. But like you could be with someone and it's like you just have two different perspectives on things. And so just kind of know that what might be at the base of things are some value differences. All right, so we've taken a look at definitions. We understand what is the value of values because they help us to become more satisfied and happy with our life and aligned. And like you said, it gives us guardrails and all of those types of things. Let's now go into the workshop. And again, this webinar is going to be different because it really is going to be a workshop. And we're going to look at a 6-step process to identify your values. Here is where you need either your resource guide, if you have that, or I was looking to see if I have mine, but I don't have it right here. Not needed. You have it, or a piece of paper, as well as a pen. And while you're getting that out, I'll show you what the resource guide looks like. See, I had it right at my handy, and that's what it looks like right now. And so if you don't have it, you've got it at the top of your email, and you can print it out. And everything that we're going to do for the next few slides are in here, questions and everything. But we want to get a little taste of this as we're going through. So the rest of the webinar. So let's get into the 6-step process. And this is how we're reimagining our values. So step number 1, think of a time when you were most happy. It can be, and here are your questions, it can be personal, or it can be career-wise. What were you doing? Think about who were you with and what factors contributed to your happiness. So when I think of a time in my life when I was most happiest, it was the day I got married, y'all. And I can remember walking down that aisle, and I was looking at my husband, and one of the things that came to me was just what a great guy he was, and the fact that this was the true deal. Okay, true deal. So that was a time when I was most happiest, and I had 300 people in the church, and it was a great time. That was mine. So what I'm going to do, and you see there's a clock here, and we're going to actually do 2 minutes. All right. I have this time. We're not going to go over time today. And with that, I want you to begin to think about a time when you were most happiest, and take a look at that. I'm going to start the clock here. And you have 2 minutes to work. I'm going to be quiet, and my photo will be up for a minute, for a little bit, and then I'll come back in at the end of our 2 minutes. So get some work done. Go for it. I have about 30 seconds left. Four, Three, two, one, stop. Okay. All right. So you have some ideas of when you were most happiest. And if you look at how you answered, what are some key words that came out for you? I know for me, when I give you the example that I just had, truth came out for me with my husband, right? He was the true deal. So just kind of underline those. All right, here we go. Next one is step two is to think of a time when you felt most proud, when you felt most proud. It can be, again, career or personal life. I felt most proud when I took a team to South Africa back in the 90s, when I was in the Army. And it was why were you proud? Because it was something I couldn't even imagine in my wildest dreams doing. And as well as the pride that was shared with others, everybody on the team. It went well working with the State Department, working with the Department of Defense, the South African Defense Force, all of this. This was high level stuff, y'all. And being able to do it in a way where I had my colonel's support, and it was just a good time. And I felt, that's probably one of those proud moments in my life. What other factors contributed to your feelings is that I had so much support from people around me as well. So that would be mine. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. And so when was a time when you felt most proud? So here we go. Time is starting. And think about that time. You have about 15 seconds left. 2, 1. Good work. Good work. Celebrate that. Again, some key words should be popping up for you about around the proud moment that you had. For me, being able to do something I had never done before, adventurous and risk-taking. There were lots of parts to that for me. And then finally, one more piece in our third step here, and that is think of a time when you felt fulfilled, when you felt most fulfilled and successful, and what need or desire was fulfilled, how and why did the experience give you life and meaning, and what other factors contributed to your feeling fulfillment. And I'll give you an example. For me, it's my 6 godchildren from the ages of 10 to 1, and they're crawling all over me, and it's chaos in the house. Auntie Allison, Auntie Allison, Auntie Allison. And just to watch these kids grow and watch their personalities, just sheer joy, So I felt most fulfilled in those times with those little people, as I call them. So with that, let's get you started on yours. And when did you feel most fulfilled or successful? It can be personal, or it can be, of course, career-wise. All right, we've got the timer started. You're doing great. Hopefully you're seeing some patterns for yourself. So we have about 15 seconds left. 5, 4, and that is time. All right, let's quickly go to the chat. What did you just discover with the first 3 steps when it comes to your values? What's jumping out for you? Let's take a couple of seconds and put something in the chat about this.
I believe they're waiting in. We are waiting for some responses.
I know they're typing. They're thinking about it.
Absolutely.
I know for me, it's about joy. It's about achievement. It's about connecting with other people is really key.
Yeah.
Okay, we might get some more when we get to now, as we put it all together and start really looking at what are those values. So we'll keep moving and looking at how do we put all of this together. So using your answers to steps 1 through 3, and those are based on your happiness, your pride, and your fulfillment, you are now ready to determine or select 5 to 8 values, all right? And I'm gonna give you a cheat sheet, and we're gonna use a short cheat sheet, and I will show you this. These are the values we're gonna work with today, and you can add others. But in your resource guide, you have this big list here that's got 300 of them. We're not going to do that right now because we only have 2 minutes. So I'm going to go back to this one and looking at these words, which of these sort of encapsulate what you have come up with around happiness, pride, and fulfillment. All right. If you don't see, like for me, faith is not on there, so I would put my faith on there. Whatever your values are, come up with 5 to 8 of them, and let's see what you come up with. And you have 2 minutes. So we'll go ahead on and start. Equanin, let me go back. Wait a minute. Go back here. Sorry, let me get our timer started. There it is. All right. And equanimity means it's really about calmness, and altruism is about selflessness. So those are 2 words that I just want to kind of explain a little bit. So equanimity is that even-tempered value. Okay, let's see how you're doing.
Okay, we're down to about 20 seconds or less.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for, we can't see you right now. There you are. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's time. And so now we've gone through 4 steps here, and we are now at step 5. We have 2 more pieces that we're going to do, and that is around prioritization. And hopefully you're finding this helpful. Hopefully this is giving you a chance to just kind of breathe and think through these values. So with that said, step number 5 is many people find this the hardest step, but what we want to do is just put things in priority order. So you should have 5 to 8 core values. Now let's put them in the order that they would go for you. Place them in the order of importance, and we're going to just take 1 minute on this one. Okay, 1 minute. Let me start the clock. And there we go. About 20 more seconds. Okay, now that's time. All right, now in the chat, what value is coming up for you? What value is coming up? Throw 1 in the chat. What's coming up for you?
Integrity.
Mm-hmm. What else are we seeing?
Cultural awareness. Oh, that's a good one.
Uh-huh.
I think they're still typing.
Yep. Okay.
I know for myself, dependability.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, it's achievement too, success, moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And someone used number 12.
Number 12.
Yeah, which is tolerance. Oh, that's a good one.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Good. Thanks, y'all. All right. So that's it for the timing. These are the last step here you can do on your own. And that is about reaffirming your values. So step number 6 is to, once you have prioritized your values, it's time to, just kind of reaffirm them and look at them again. So how do you do that? You want to ask yourself, do these values make you feel good about yourself? Are you proud of your top values? If you say no, then okay. Would you be comfortable and proud to tell someone else? I was thinking about this, and would I want to tell my mentor what my values are? That's something that is a litmus test. If I'm ashamed of my values, then I might want to think through that a little bit more. Do these values represent things you would support, even if the choice isn't popular? And, right now in our society, there's a lot of stuff that's going on where, people are at polar opposite ends. And again, um, you know, we have to really kind of go back to what is our center, and am I willing to stand for what it is that I believe? And we're not willing to stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And you've heard that saying before. All right, so here's some additional questions to consider. If you're still struggling with identifying your personal values, here's some additional questions. How do I respond to hardship or good fortune? Who are my closest friends? Or do I have really good friends that are sort of my ride or dies? We talked about them last week. Or do I have constituents, people that are just in it with me because of the fight, or they're comrades, but they're going to leave me and they're not really, they don't really care about me? Because again, what happens is if you're misaligned in your relationships, that then allows your values to be skewed. All right. Because again, you're probably living according to somebody else's values and not your own. How do I treat others around me? That's another thing. I'll give you another example. I was we have had a passing in our family. My husband's father has gone on to be with the Lord. That's what we say in my tradition. And we were in church on Sunday, and someone was talking to me, and they were giving us their condolences. Well, we're very satisfied and just glad that he's out of this body. He was 93 years old. Okay. He lived a long, good life, honorable man. And so the guy is talking to me and giving me his condolences. And I'm thinking I need to go over to another place and get something done. So I'm nodding my head and thanking him, but I'm not with him. Now, that's a violation of my value to treat others in a way that is respectful. Leaders walk slowly through the crowd. They take time, they look people in their eyes, and they spend those moments that person needs. So I was pretty much off, going to where I needed to go or I wanted to go. And it hit me, you did not honor that man. So I turned back and he was gone. And I was like, and I'm looking for him and I can't find him. And so that was kind of like a miss, right? And that's a moment when I didn't live up to my value of how I treat other people. So we're constantly kind of assessing and going in and out. The key is to be aware. All right. That's why we've gone through this whole exercise and activity. And you've come to this webinar to really take a look at those values. So we've done 6 steps. We've looked at definitions. We know why we value our values. And finally, let's look at 3 quick tips that'll be helpful. When it comes to applying your values to your life, making value-based choices, it's not always easy. Okay. So again, the guy at church Sunday, I blew it. I'm telling you, I always get these examples so that all right. Anyway, but you know what's right. And in the long run, you live closer to your true north than you do away from your true north. And that's key. Tip number 1, use your values when you're goal setting this year. You may have some current goals or goals that you're thinking about what you want to achieve. Here's the big one, right? I want to lose weight. Now, the question becomes, how do I treat myself? I'm just throwing that out. That's always the big one. I want to exercise more. I want to get to moving. How do I actually do that? Am I being true to myself around this? So let's look at it. Are you living according to your values in your life as a whole? I want to be good to others and I want to be good to myself. So that comes with eating, sleeping, and all of those good things that make me healthy. Do I have the career choices that reflect my values? All right. There are certain places I would not be able to work just because of my values. How about your activities outside of work? Are they matched or, and aligned? Or do you do one thing at work and one thing someplace else? So do you have this divided, dichotomous life that when people see you over in this area, they think one thing about you and vice versa. And you can do the same thing by thinking about yourself in that way. All right. Are you spending your time on things that matter to you? All right. Remember, we said that a lot of times our values could be so aligned with other people and what they want for our lives. And this always happens with younger people. My dad wants me to go to school and do this and that, but I really want to be a pilot, or I want to do something. I want to go in the military. And so looking at those kind of things are important. When your values can be used to answer these questions, are you achieving your goal? Are they fulfilling and meaningful? As you look at these questions that we have here, that's what is important, and you get better alignment around your goal setting and where you're going and headed. Tip number 2, long-term goals will help you get to where you want to be in life, but your values are going to help you to make your day-to-day decisions. So keeping those in mind and really being in tune with what they are helps you to live out the true you. Also, tip number 3, it's not always easy to make your actions align with your values. You've heard throughout the workshop where you blow it, where I have blown it. But you want to keep your values in front of you. You write them down, keep a list, visualize them, and plan your day around them. Like if I say that my value is to treat others with respect or somehow bring joy to them or show them that I'm thankful that they're on this planet with me, I might plan, maybe I see somebody and I want to give them something or do something for them. Pay for somebody's groceries in the grocery store. Print out your values and keep them close to you. That's another thing. I have my values printed. I have a 10-point value system, and And also, here's the key with your values, unpack them. So if I say that a value that I have under faith is serving, what does that mean, serving? What I do for others, openly share my time, talent, and treasure. That's under serving, under my faith. So begin to expand. You just kind of have put some things down, and so you will want to expand on those. And I can go into detail with you after the webinar. Contact me and I can coach you through this stuff. Make them the background on your cell phone, the computer. Use your technology, set up reminders that they pop up. Whatever you need to do. If you find that you're straying away from your values, analyze them. Pay attention to that little thing that nags you in the store, $5.99. But $5.99 is no big deal. I could just say, Safeway has a lot of money. They don't need, it's no big deal. But I knew it was a big deal. And so we want to connect with who we really are. All right. I want to hear from you. Hopefully our chat is working. What's one thing you heard that surprised you today? One thing you heard that surprised you today. Let's put it in chat. One thing you've heard. And what's the one big value that you identified or you affirmed? Because you probably, some of you, I know you know your values, but it really was an affirmation for you as you connected it with happiness, pride, and fulfillment.
We've got character,
Mm-hmm.
and others are weighing in.
Or weighing in.
They are weighing in.
Oh, okay.
The word,
Typing.
yeah.
The typing. Yes. Guys are doing well. You did a lot of work today.
They did a lot of work. Humility is important.
Yeah.
Accomplishments are driven by values.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone said that they realized, I should say, Jacqueline said that she realized that in the process of goal setting, she's been skipping the step of ensuring my goals align with my values.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because the values are that core thing. Good, thanks, Jackie, on that. Exactly. That's the point. A lot of times we do purpose and vision and goals, but going back and just taking that step back. That's why I wanted to do this particular workshop here in December. It allows us to really take that step back.
Allison,
yes,
Maria said that she took away that her personal and professional experiences complemented her values and her goals.
There we go. That's what we call alignment, guardrails.
Yes.
You are in there, Maria.
and Letty said that leaders walk slowly through the crowd, yes, taking time for people. Yes. Oh, she's on that one.
And you know what else too? Leaders eat last.
Ooh, that's a great one.
Leaders eat last. Sometimes you're around people and maybe you're at an event or whatever. Eat last. Talk to people. Connect with them. You know.
I had to put that one in the chat myself.
Yeah, Sinkey, S-E-N-K-E, I believe it is Simon Sinkey. I believe the guy. He has a book out. Leaders eat last. All right, great work. So, real quick review here. Values are our magnets, our moral compass to our true north. Ultimately, values help you live the life you want. Happiness, pride, and fulfillment determine your core values, believe it or not. That's why we started there. And we want to apply them when we're making decisions for our life. And realize that other people have different values. And even if we both say we believe in honesty, the question is, when you're talking to a friend and or your spouse or whoever it is, a coworker, talk about what does honesty mean for you? And what you will find is because we have different filters in our life, and different socializations and the way we've come up, there'll be some nuances that help us to understand each other a little bit deeper beyond just the label of the word truth or integrity. So you have this resource sheet that was sent to you as well. This here, Deborah will still drop the link for Canva in the chat, but we also sent this out to you at the top of the hour. We've done, these are all of our workshops that we've done. They're out there on YouTube. This one will go up shortly in the next day or so. And you can go back and you can pass it out to people, tell folks about it, and they can take a look. Next month, we're going to be doing how to do a life audit. And I'm excited about that one, and really just kind of getting us more geared toward next year and what we're doing. And I know most of you will have already started on your goals and those type of things, but now we'll sharpen what you've already done with the life audit. Additionally, we've got a survey that's going to come out. I'm going to send that to you. It's going to take you less than 3 minutes to do, and we'll get that to you. Please visit us on our social media platforms. Next month, January 25th, how to do a life audit, next steps. You know, I want to be your coach. And so if you need a coach, I'm here for you. I want you to have a very safe holiday season. Merry Christmas to you all. And thank you for coming to the Lee Johnson Group's webinar series and taking a look at your core values. Thank you and have a great rest of the day. Bye now.